Travelers with your hosts, Sean and Marianne Gauntlet.
Well, hello there, parapeeps, and welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels. Let's talk paranormal live.
Hi, everybody.
I am your host, Sean Donnelly.
And I'm your co-host, Marianne Donnelly.
That's right. It's a show that Thomas Edison would love if he'd stay out of the laboratory trying to figure out how to make a light bulb.
He did that.
Crickets.
He did find the proper way.
I know. It took him a while.
Yes.
All right, folks. Well, tonight we are talking about a very interesting subject. Something that's popped up several times in our research.
Mm-hmm.
Several times. And we're going to cover that. And got some great information to share with you. And somebody's going to win an artifact.
From the location we're talking about.
We're actually talking about the 1893 Columbian Exposition or Chicago World's Fair or whatever you want to talk about. And somebody's going to walk away with a ticket.
A return ticket.
A return ticket.
Whew.
We'll explain that here in a little bit. But we're going to hang around here. As always, if you are joining us, please tell us in the chat where you're from. Where are you from?
All right. So Art Geek wanted to know about our skeleton, wanted to know if he has a name. So he has a name.
Yeah, scroll up. But I'm not seeing them over there, though.
Oh, they're
scroll
over here.
The screen up. Oh, okay. So there's
yeah.
Good.
So I already said.
This is Boris.
Mm-hmm.
This is Boris. Our parapeeps, and I'll tell you how you could become a parapeep here shortly. But our parapeeps named him. We put it on Twitter, and we got some suggestions, and they named him Boris. Now, Boris is the personality that does the ghost stories and folklores on Tuesdays when we put out the creepy videos.
Yeah. He doesn't really come to life, though, does he?
Well, I'm not going to tell you. I just know I shut the door and turn the camera on. When I'm done, we have a video.
Okay. Oh, all right. Well, we have a few people in the chat room. So, hello everybody out there. Richard's back, and we have Puska Studios, who we were on their show last night.
That's right. We had a blast last night. We were on their show, and something creepy kind of happened. We'll let you go over to their channel to kind of find out. But yeah, it was a blast last night. And in fact, after tonight's show, if we want to do a little follow train, yes, we're all going to head over to
Halos and Heathens.
Halos and Heathens, and
they came and visited us last week.
That's right. Pusa Studios is going to be on their show, and then at 8 o'clock, that starts at 6. Then at 8 o'clock,
Puska Studios is having their own show
so
too.
We're just going to follow right along.
We'll have a whole evening.
We'll have a big follow train going on tonight. So yeah, that'll be fun. All right, so while everyone is checking in and telling us where you're from and saying hi, let's get some of the housekeeping stuff out of the way, shall we?
Okay, you do that. By the way, Art Geek Design is in the house, too.
All right.
And Abra is here.
All right. And hopefully we're going to have better luck this week with the slides, because I'm doing it a little different.
I told you not to make slides.
I didn't make that many.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the tonight's show producers. We have 12 Night Horror, Small Tuber Army, and Ariel. I think that is shortened for Princess, who are our show producers for tonight. And let me explain that just a little bit, how that works.
Okay.
All right, because Marianne gets confused about
I
that
get so
every
confused.
single week. So here's how. Oh, that's the wrong slide. Okay, that's all right. Oh, disclaimer. I didn't give the disclaimer. We are live, so I can't edit my mistakes. So, sorry. Nothing's ever perfect. But here we go. Here's how you can be a producer of one of our shows. Just participate in our Twitter account. That's our Twitter account right there, at PANICdVideos And, you know, follow us. I can't say that word tonight.
Retweet.
Retweet our posts, like, comment, so on and so forth. And the highest activity that we get from our followers
Each week,
the top 3 become our show producers on Saturday. So that's how that works.
Art Geek loves that idea, by the way.
Well, feel free to steal it. Go ahead, because I stole it from somewhere else. Not a problem.
Puska Studios thinks that's awesome too.
There's actually a little program that I signed up for with Twitter. If you guys DM me on Twitter, I'll tell you where it's at. But every Friday it tweets out our top, I'm going to say followers, but it's interactive. It sends it out on Friday, and I just take that and make that show producers. Marianne, it took her a couple weeks or 3 weeks to get comfortable with that. She didn't understand what that meant.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
It still creeps me out a little bit, but it's okay.
All right, so let's talk about parapeeps just for a second. What is a parapeep? Hashtag, you say it better. Hashtag
Parapeep.
Parapeep. All right, parapeeps is what we call our followers on our channel. Okay? Yeah. Now, here's how that works. Every time we go live, which hopefully is every Saturday, we're going to give something away. Okay? Because we just like to give stuff away anyways. So last week we had our parapeeps and our followers do what they're supposed to do. And somebody tonight's going to win one of our t-shirts we're going to give away.
One of the ones he's wearing.
That's right. So, but in order to enter into those contests, you have to show us proof that you have subscribed, hit the bell, follow us, and all that fun stuff. So if you're certified, you basically send me a screenshot, I make a little certificate, I tweet it out, send it back to you. So when we go to do a giveaway, and if you go to enter, I know that you're already registered and we don't have to worry about that. Okay? But you become a certified parapeep. Now, did I show this slide? I don't know if I did. Jumping ahead. So, basically, to become a parapeep, you subscribe to our channel, hit that bell for notifications, like this video. Hopefully, you're pounding that like button right now, so that'll knock out some of those. If you're commenting in our comment section, I see them piling up. You already got that taken care of. And you know what? The last one's kind of optional, but it would be nice if you do it to us and kind of let us know that you love us. Share it with a friend. Tell a friend about us. Take a screenshot that you have subscribed and liked, and make sure, and this is important because I'm getting them in Twitter, in direct messenger, I need you to email them to me, to our email, which is panicdvideos@gmail.com. Once you do that, I'm going to create a certificate that's going to look like that. You are a certified parapeep. And I'm going to tweet that out and email it back to you, and it'll have your name, not mine.
I was just going to say it, and don't worry, his name won't be on it.
That's right. Won't be my name. Unless you want to, but that's okay. That's how you become a certified parapeep. And also, I have you registered in our email and all that other stuff like that. And community's building up pretty good.
There you go.
All right. So you guys got that? The parapeep, how to become a parapeep? Tell us you understand.
Puska Studios says they want a t-shirt now.
Want a t-shirt now. We're not giving away a t-shirt this weekend.
Not this weekend.
Maybe next week.
This weekend we have something special, and it's totally for the event that we're talking about tonight.
That's right. But before we get to that, we have to give away last week's t-shirt.
That's right.
Now, those of you who are joining us, and we're telling you how to enter, you need to send us the email. Because last week we only got 4. And we had a lot more in the chat. So we got 4 people that's going to be entered to win last week's t-shirt.
Okay.
All right, so let's see if I could bring that screen up. That's not it. Let's try again. Thanks for playing.
There it is.
There we go.
Oh, you spelled one of them wrong, but that's okay.
Which one?
You got Joan in there.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's
she'll
all
live
right.
with it,
She'll
especially
understand.
if she wins a t-shirt.
Yes.
All right. So here's the 4 people that sent us the email to win the t-shirt. We have Stacy Moronsky, Joanne Reagan, Bill Cook over at PSPR Erie Paranormal, and James Finera Jr., These, all four of us, all four of them, sent in to win the t-shirt. Are we ready to give it away?
I think they're ready and waiting.
Here we go. Stacy Moronsky won the t-shirt.
All right,
and
congratulations, Stacy.
that she is a certified parapeep, so I believe I have her address already.
But we need her shirt size, right?
I think she sent her shirt size, because
she
remember
sent it?
I asked for
Perfect.
that last week.
So they listened? Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome.
All right, so
All right, congrats,
one
Stacy.
thing for sure, guys, when we start talking about this week's giveaway, which is going to be really cool, we really want to, it's better than a t-shirt. You got to send us the email, because that's in our rules. That's down in the description. It says you got to send us an email. So I got to follow that now that I have the rules posted. All right, so let's talk about this week's giveaway.
Okay,
Shall
let's
we?
do it. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So here's what we're giving away. I found out today, actually, that this is coming.
Yes,
so
it's coming.
we're
It's
gonna
not
give
here
one
yet.
away.
It's not here yet, but it will be here. It'll be here this week. I don't remember what day.
We are actually giving away. Well, before we do this, just not suspense.
Oh,
but I'm
you
just gonna
love
show you.
suspense.
Well, show them our tickets. Because
Okay.
tonight we're talking about the World's Fair. This is our collection of tickets. These are actually
This is
original tickets.
This is the So Far collection. I have more from mine
of course,
coming,
she's
too.
got more coming. But
I'm
these
a
are actual.
shopaholic.
See if you can get closer so they can actually see them.
I can't
There's a
see
little bit of
I
a
can't
reflection.
see, so you have to tell me what direction, because it's over the
Okay,
picture.
go ahead and pull back, and you can point to them and explain to them.
Okay, because I can't tell from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were a whole slew full of different types of tickets that they had for the Colombian World Fair in 1893. They did that as precaution for counterfeiting, actually. So they had a whole bunch of different tickets, just thousands of different types of tickets, apparently. But they had 4 of them that were called portrait picture tickets. And there were only 60,000 of these that went out. There were 27 million people who attended the fair.
Wow.
There were only 60,000 of these, but they were season tickets. So if you had one of these, it was
So
a
you
season
could go
ticket.
the whole time.
You can go
Okay.
the whole time.
And the different
So-
pictures were a
So they
Native
had
American.
4. They had 4 original types. They had one with a Native American on it. They had one with Columbus on it, and then they had one with Washington and one with Lincoln on it. And they were to represent the 4 periods of American history before we
Before
got here,
Columbus.
before Columbus got here, Columbus's time and discovery, Washington and the forming of our country, and Lincoln
With the Civil War.
the Civil War ending and slavery ending and all those types of things. They then had added 2 kinds of tickets after that. They added a Benjamin Franklin one that was based on electricity and the fact that the Colombian World's Fair that year was going to be big in electricity. And then they had one that they had Handel on because of his musical selections on water, and there was a lot of water effects at the Colombian World Fair as well.
Okay.
So those were the portrait tickets. And then they had special days as well. And so that's what these ones are up here. These ones here are for the Chicago Day, which was on October 9th to be representative and remembrance of the big fair, or the big fire, not the big fair, the big fire. And
1871.
then, yes, in 1871. And then these 2 tickets up here are these that have been used, but these ones are sequential. So I got one for Sean and one for me.
So once we figure out that time travel, we can actually go back and attend the
Yeah.
fair. We got our tickets.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
So
and
we're
later
actually
we'll
going
have
to
the
give.
return pass too.
Well, I was just going to say, you just killed my joke.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We're not giving away one of those tickets. We're
Right.
actually giving away a return pass ticket, which looks like this.
Yes.
Okay. So these basically were used when you left the fair. They gave you one of these to get back in so they didn't charge you again.
Right. They said, if you had to go water your horses or you had to go back home or whatever, they would give you one of these to return back. And so I have several of these coming this week. And so we're going to give you one of these away.
That's right.
We're
We're
going
going
to give
to
one away.
give one of our parapeeps.
They're going to get to go back to the World's Fair if they get a time machine.
Yeah. Did I spell artifact right? Artifact.
Artifact.
I
Yeah,
think
it
I
looks
did.
good. Mm-hmm.
So, do you guys want to know how you could enter to win that ticket? Let's hear you in the chat room.
I'm thinking that Abra says yes. Either that or they're excited about Stacy winning. I'm not sure 100%. But we definitely have some stars showing up. How much were the tickets in 1893? I'm so glad you asked.
Oh, you're going to get her started.
In fact, they had different ranges of
Richard,
things.
you've been here the last 2 weeks, right?
3 times. I think the 3 weeks. The last 3 weeks.
You got to send us an email, man. You got to send us the email to enter to win the free stuff. But anyways.
So the original tickets, they had tickets for the construction, and those were 25 cents to go and watch them build the facilities. And then they had day tickets. Those day tickets were going to be 50 cents a person to get in. So
yeah, they actually charged 25 cents, and they even had tickets to use the facilities.
They had some normal.
Yeah,
bathrooms.
they had the normal people, but if
they
you wanted
also
to go to the
had
special fancy ones, you had
special pay toilets that you could pay 5 cents, and you can go and use their pay toilet. Those pay toilets.
All right,
we're
going to tell them how to win this ticket, and then you can get to that.
They were by. I was going to tell you who the pay tickets for the toilet were by. They were by the James B. Clow Company. They provided a
how much
cleaner
was it to
experience.
use a cleaner toilet?
5 cents.
A nickel.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so here's how you can win this ticket. Here's what you got to do. Send us proof that you've subscribed. If you are a certified parapeep, you don't have to do that. I already know that you have. But if you are not certified, take that screenshot that you subscribed, hit the bell, email it to us at panicdvideos@gmail.com with the subject line number 006. And for everybody who does that and shows us proof, becomes a parapeep, all that stuff, and is entered to win that ticket.
I hear the neighbors are cutting their grass.
Yeah, I'll have to shut the window. Entered to win that ticket next week's show.
Yes, super cool. I think it's super cool.
All right,
but if they are
if
they are a parapeep, all they have to do is send their parapeep number, right, in the email.
We have less than 20 right now,
so
I know.
So your brain
by
is still
looking
functioning.
Yeah, I can still understand what's going on. So I already know. But eventually we get, when it starts getting up there and I start forgetting names and getting older and senile and don't know what's going on, I'm going to ask you to send that certificate. So, but I could cross-ref emails. I know that they're in my contact list. So
okay.
I'm still figuring that out, but the email's working pretty good.
Okay.
So. All
Sounds good.
I forgot to ask this, you guys out there, how's the audio? Everything's like working good and all that other stuff. We switched, in case you didn't notice, we switched the room around since last week. We're facing a different direction, so we had to move all the equipment around and get everything squared away and all that stuff. So.
I wasn't pleased with the other.
No, we
corner.
were kind of jammed in there, but all right, great, okay, all right. So let's move on and let's talk about.
Can we talk about this?
Sure, go ahead. You see that thing sitting back here? And if you guys remember when we did the videos too, yeah, this
it's
one's 13
quite heavy.
Pounds. When we did the videos too, out in basically the dining room, there was a brick that was sitting back behind us.
This is a different one.
Okay, let me finish. I know you're holding a 13-pound brick, but that brick that's in the other one is paranormal significance. It came from a building with paranormal claims that we investigated. This brick, go ahead and explain that.
This brick actually is from the Colombian's World Fair.
It's a paver block.
It is. It was. They used them to separate different roadways and things like that. And so this one here has an imprint of Columbus. And this brick company also won an award for their types of bricks. And so this is their symbol for the award of the brick. I can't really see it in the brick very well, but that's what it is. And it says
very well walked on.
And it says World Fair 1893, and then it has the letters of the company, which was the Reynolds Brick Company.
Reynolds, really?
I think it was Reynolds.
Reynolds was St. Augustine.
They were St. Augustine, too. I think it was Reynolds. Hold on, I'll look.
Well, here, sit that down before you break your arm.
No, that's all right. All right. So, anyways, but what I liked about those two, you can hold it up and show. Look at they have like little grooves in the sides of them. I don't see our bricks made that way anymore.
You know what that's for, don't you?
So that they could pick them up and move them.
No, when you set them down as a paver, they would go over it with sand and
put the sand in there.
Lock them.
Oh, look at you being all smart.
Well, I try.
Nope, I lied. It wasn't Reynolds. It was Robinson.
Okay,
Robinson
Reynolds was
Clay. Yeah, Reynolds was St. Augustine. That was the Robinson Clay Products Company.
That's right.
So they were from Ohio, though.
Okay.
It was an Ohio company.
All right, so let's get rolling talking about this information here. Okay. How many people have actually heard about the 1893 Columbian Chicago World's Fair? If you've heard about it before, let us know. Now, the reason why we're so into it, okay, is almost everything that we know in American culture is associated with that World's Fair in some way or another. Research that we have done on different things, paranormal, historical, whatever, all lead back to that World's Fair.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're doing it this week and talking about it, we're coming off of H.H. Holmes Week, and next week we're doing the Congress Plaza. What?
And
what?
Not only are we coming off of that week going to the other week, and
May 1st
was the 125th anniversary of the opening
of the fair.
Yes.
So that's why there's some timing that we want to talk about this. Now, okay, so we talked about H.H. Holmes and all that other stuff last week, okay, and the reason why he was in Chicago at that time was because of the Columbian Exposition.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just call it Chicago World's Fair, because that's hard for me to say.
I know you have
guys
so
know
much
what I'm
trouble with
about.
that all the
Okay.
time.
All right, so there were 4 different cities that were competing to get it, and it was a congressional movement. Congress voted to have it in Chicago based on money being raised, okay? And this was a national, 400 anniversary of Columbus finding America. It was a big deal. 27 million people in the United States, which was 1 in every 4 American attended this fair in one way or another, whether they were there in attendance, they went there for work, whatever. And Chicago is the center, basically, of the country. So it was a huge deal. It was really, really important. You're coming off of the Civil War and all that other stuff, and the nation getting back together. Chicago had that massive fire that took out the whole city. I mean, it was huge. So, which one do we want to talk about first that took place at the fair?
Well, let's tell them what the 4 cities were.
Okay, so the 4 cities. Go ahead.
So there was, of course, New York City, Washington, D.C., St. Louis,
that was
and Chicago. And Chicago won out, obviously.
Yeah.
And it was officially noted on April 25th of 1890, which I love April 25th because that's DNA Day now. And that's a science geek thing. But April 25th of 1890 is when they officially said, yes, we can have it in Chicago. So that's kind of exciting.
Okay, so those were the 4 cities that were competing to get the World's Fair. Chicago won out because of the money they were able to raise
very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. Like within 24 hours, they raised I don't know how many $1 million, or
Right, and Fields. He's the one who he was saying, you know what, I'll back it. I'll make sure the money is there. And they said, "Oh, okay."
So, did you guys see
Marshall
the
Fields.
tweet and the Facebook post that I put out earlier about Epcot? If you did, I put out a picture about Epcot, and I said, "How is this related to the World's Fair?" Let's start with that story because that's the one. I think when I found that out, I thought, okay, we need to start looking at this a little bit closer.
All right, go for it.
What was the name of that book? Because I read that book while we were on one of our vacations. The Story of Walt Disney?
I think it was his biography.
Yeah, Walt Disney's biography.
Yeah.
They mentioned in there, and this was like the 3rd time I heard about the World's Fair, they mentioned the Columbian Exposition. Get this, okay? So this is just the beginning. Walt Disney's father, Elias, was actually a carpenter at this fair.
Yeah, he was one of the builders.
They lived in Chicago. Walt Disney was born in Chicago in 1901. Mm-hmm. His brother Roy was alive then because he was older.
Yeah.
So the seed of building this city
came from all his
with
dad's
all
stories.
These pavilions of different things across the world demonstrating things and stuff like that. That seed of Disneyland came from this
and Epcot Center.
And Epcot Center.
Because his father was here at this Chicago's World Fair. And he grew up hearing all the stories, and then he ended up going to other World's Fairs later down the line and seeing the miniatures. Yeah, he was totally into it. And then he got this idea of, hey, let's go ahead and make some miniature things. Probably It's a Small World.
Yeah.
And
which debuted in the New York World's Fair.
And then he eventually, sets things in motion for Epcot Center, which is the World Showcase. The Chicago World's Fair had 46 different countries that had come there and had exhibitions at the event, and
so
it was the first.
It
was the first one that had all of these things.
Stay with us. We have several. That was just number one. A little bit more about the Disney stuff. The confectionery. If you ever went to Disneyland in Anaheim, there's the confectionery candy shop on Main Street.
Yes.
Those people who originally owned that candy store in Disneyland actually attended this fair.
Right.
And got the idea of the mechanized making candy type stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's actually when they built that in Disneyland, they brought that idea with them. And you found earlier that there's all kinds of hidden things around Disneyland that
in
are
the shops,
different like programs and all this other stuff from the Columbian Exposition.
On Main Street, there's a behind one of the registers. There's a picture. There's a giant one of the souvenirs built up there, and it has the correct date for the exhibition. He's got tickets from just like mine. Framed and stuck up there. They've got one, as you said, in the candy confectionery area. They do have one of the programs from the World's Fair of 1893 in the display. It's all over Main Street, USA.
So some of the other people who attended the fair. You ready? Lizzie Borden.
Yes. Now, there was a theory that, oh, no, that was a lie. She really didn't go there. But it was actually in the newspaper in Fall River that she went, and that she went with Carolyn Borden and another one of her friends, Alice. I believe it was Alice that went.
Was it the neighbor?
It was Alice, but I can't remember what her last name was. But anyhow, it was in the newspaper that she went to the Columbian World Fair with them.
If you ever go back and look at local newspapers from the day, they were more of like a social type thing where they say, okay, this one are going out, they're traveling out of town to this birthday party or somebody's getting married, and it was actually like a social log section of the newspaper. And in that paper, it stated that Lizzie Borden did attend to the fair. And actually, she won a pair of tickets through the Boston Globe, but gave them up to somebody else because she probably already had tickets.
Either she already had tickets, or I've got all Daddy's money now. I got
Dad's money now. I don't need your free tickets.
Yeah, but apparently a couple weeks before that, it was in the newspaper that she won that, but her lawyers sent a letter to the Boston Globe, said give them to someone else. But then it's in the newspaper that she went. It was Alice Buck. Okay. It was Alice Buck that she went with. So, you
got Lizzie Borden, of course, H.H. Holmes.
Yes.
That was like his, I got to go get my victims. Let's go down to the fair, get a falafel and some Cracker Jacks and pick up a victim.
He was supposedly seen at the fair.
Are we ever going to get to this show?
He was supposedly seen at the fair with some of his victims.
Yes, two of his victims he was actually seen at the fair there. Mm-hmm. Attending the fair with them.
Yes.
Alexander Graham Bell was there. Helen Keller was there. Mm-hmm. John Philip Sousa and his band played there.
Yes, for many times.
Of course, Thomas Edison was there. Did I say Alexander Graham Bell?
I don't know if you said him or not.
He was there. If I didn't say that.
Carnegie was there.
Carnegie.
John Dillinger was there. Yep. Susan B. Anthony spoke there.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Susan B. Anthony spoke there.
Absolutely. It was awesome. Florence Kelly, a labor rights reform, she spoke there. Julia Howe, she spoke there. She was an abolitionist as well. They all spoke there on women's rights. The Midway was unbelievable, and that's where the Ferris wheel was.
Yeah, the first Ferris wheel was debuted at the World's Fair, and you believe that they tore it down?
Yeah, they moved it.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, so they moved the Ferris wheel after the exhibition closed. They moved it from the south side where it was at to, actually it was on the Midway, to the north side. And then when the came time for the World's Fair in St. Louis in 1904, they dismantled it, took it to St. Louis and put it up again. And then in 1906, they just demolished it completely.
So let's talk about some of the firsts that were debuted at the thing. And this
okay,
is
so
what
the Ferris wheel.
Well, the Ferris wheel, but this affects American culture. The hamburger.
Yes.
Cracker Jacks. Milton Hershey was there. He was a caramel creator, and he saw this machine that you can dip it in chocolate. Hershey. Okay. What else? Did I say Cracker Jacks?
Yes, you said Cracker Jacks.
Juicy Fruit.
Juicy Fruit gum.
Blue Ribbon got their, or Pabst got their Blue Ribbon because they were the best beer at the fair. They had it ahead of time, but they won best beer, and they renamed the beer Pabst Blue Ribbon. Mm-hmm. What else am I missing? I'm going to see if I can remember without you looking at the
Let's see. How about the first dishwasher?
The first electric dishwasher. The first electric machine to cut clothing was debuted there. Mm-hmm. The first fax machine was actually debuted there. It was like a pencil. What did you explain it? It was a pencil. You'd write on it, and then
it would turn your writing into electrical impulses that would then be sent across to another one somewhere else, and it would print out. And the guy who came up with this process, he said, you can go in Chicago and you can draw your cartoons or whatever you want to put in your newspapers and send it across, and it'll come out just like it on the other side.
Aunt Jemima Pancakes.
Yes.
And she was there.
Yes. The lady who, Miss Green was her name, she made, I think it was either 50,000 or 60,000 pancakes for people that while she was there. And she became the face of Aunt Jemima Pancakes. And she was given a lifetime contract then after the World's Fair because she had made it so popular.
That's horrible. I don't understand what's horrible.
I'm not sure. I was waiting to see what else. Maybe it was the Holmes thing. I'm not sure because that was not long before that.
Jeez, what else? Juicy Fruit gum.
Yeah, you said Juicy Fruit gum, but
am I repeating myself?
What about the first commemorative postcards, stamps, coins, the first pressed pennies?
Yes, the first pressed pennies. Here's another thing too. The Pledge of Allegiance was first said at this fair by a middle school classroom. Mm-hmm. They actually performed it at the fair in front of a crowd. And, oh man, I forgot that lady's name. She was a professor, an English professor.
Oh, the one from Wellesley College?
Yes.
Yes.
What's her name?
That was Catherine Bates. Catherine Bates.
Yes, Catherine Bates. She was so inspired by attending the World's Fair that she wrote a poem. It was just America the Beautiful was the poem that she wrote. So,
it was about the Ferris wheel.
All about the Ferris wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Why wouldn't you...
save that for, prosperity. It was actually it was built to rival the Paris Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower still survives today. But, of course, the Ferris wheel does not.
I want to show you guys a picture that we found actually earlier today, and I hope this is not too blurry for you guys to see this. Check that out. Hopefully it's not too blurry because I had to blow it up to fit the resolution. This is actually a
No, it looks okay.
a fountain, Coca-Cola fountain, that is made out of marble. Okay? And this was at the fair. This is how elegant and extreme they went out to do this. You see those lamps? Those are actually the fountains to pour the Coca-Cola. This, I think it was in 2012, a private owner owned this and auctioned that off, and it went for $4.25 million.
It's unbelievable.
Well, it's all marble. It's just gorgeous. But that kind of tells you like how the fair was set up and built. All these buildings, which were intended to be temporary, they built it on a swampland there in Chicago.
Yeah.
What was the park name? Wasn't
Jackson
Grant
Park.
Jackson Park. And they just transformed that whole area and built all these buildings and pavilions and stuff like that. The first electrical, light bulbs. They lit up the fountains and the buildings and all that other stuff, and it was just grand. You want to tell them about the battle over electricity, because that's kind of interesting too.
Well, Westinghouse and General Electric were both vying to light up the Chicago World's Fair, and so they went into a bidding war. And General Electric, they bid, I think it was $1.8 million is what they wanted for them to light the whole place up. And they came back and they like laughed at them, basically. They're like, yeah. And so they got a bid from Westinghouse, and then General Electric dropped their bid to like $551,000 or something like that. And then eventually Westinghouse won the bid at $399,000.
But they severely underbid it. Severely. They lost tons of money.
Yes, but they lost tons of money, not just because they were a low bidder to start with, but because General Electric said, you know what?
You can't use our light bulbs.
We're going to ruin your life. You can't use the Edison bulb.
Yeah.
You've got to come up with something else to light your stuff up with.
And at the time, Westinghouse did not have a great patent on a light bulb. They were very short-lived, and actually the way it reads is they had to hire an army of men to run around changing light bulbs. And that's why they lost so much money.
Yeah. How long did you say that they lasted?
It didn't last very long. I think it was like 3 or 4 days or something like that.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
The Edison light bulb, it was...
The Thomas Edison light bulb will last forever. An actual original light bulb.
There's an original one still lit.
Yeah, it's still burning down in Fort Myers.
Yes.
There's one burning down there.
And there's another one somewhere else too. But yeah, there was one in Fort Myers.
They'll actually burn forever.
House.
He designed them that way, but then when General Electric and all that formed, they're like, hey man, they just buy one light bulb, how are we going to make money? So they had to make them so that they only burn for certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So people have to buy new light bulbs. But,
yeah. So then they also not only did that, they had some other things that they brought into it then. Westinghouse also had a display, of course, at the electricity building, shocking enough. But they had neon lights for the first time. They kind of came up with that. The predecessor of the fluorescent light bulb, they had a display for that. They had the first searchlights.
Yeah.
That they had, and basically what they did is they stuck it on top of the building and the manufacturer, and then they just kind of let it just kind of pan around in all the displays in the streets and things, even into the neighborhoods that were kind of adjacent to it. That was pretty cool. But that was a big thing. Electricity was huge, and for them to get that versus Thomas Edison, who came up with the light bulb, and GE.
So, okay, we're a little over halfway, so let's talk about the giveaway again. We are actually, with this show, giving away one of these tickets. They're not here yet. They should be here this week.
They're en route. They're coming this week.
You got tracking on it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
This week. I want to say the 9th or the 10th is when they're coming. I'm not sure.
All right, so here's how you can actually win the ticket. Subscribe to our channel. hit the bell notification and send us proof. And send that screenshot off to PANICdVideos@gmail.com. In the subject line, put number 006. And next week when we go live, we will draw everyone who sent us that email and pick a name, and you'll win a ticket.
Yeah. Now, there's something that they had at the World's Fair that I kind of want, and I can't find.
Good, because it's probably expensive. Will you stop already, please? You put a brick. Well, you won't tell them how much the brick was.
Did you ever go anywhere and get one of those little pickle pins from Heinz 57?
Yeah, I've seen them before.
Did any of you guys ever get one?
I don't want to have to take on a second job, but
at the Columbian Exposition, Heinz had a booth on the second floor of the building they were in. And they were having trouble getting people to come up to the second floor.
So they gave away the pickle
So
pins.
they said, you know what? Let's do something here. And what they did was they sent representatives downstairs to pass out cards and said, hey, if you come up to our booth,
we'll give you a pickle pin.
We'll give you a prize. And so they went up, and of course they had their pickles and things like that, but they also got this pickle pin. And that became how they started with the pickle pins. It was because they were up on the second floor. They couldn't get people to go up there.
So
I want one of those original pickle pins.
Yeah, that would be cool to have a pickle pin too. So why are we doing this? Why are we covering this fair? What does it have to do with paranormal?
Well, there were people who
Nobody
died.
asked us that question, did they?
No. They just think it's
all
kind
right,
of cool.
Pusa Studios. We'll see you on the next live thing. We're gonna head over there as soon as we wrap up too. They think it's cool, but why is it related to paranormal? Well, folks, when we go into these historical locations and follow all these paranormal claims and things like that, we do perform research either before or after we've been there, either or, but we dive into the places a little bit more. And like I said, I don't know how many times this fair has popped up.
Yeah, it's just, there were so many people that went that were very important people. There were so many different things that they came out with that we use today, or were
even Coca-Cola. When we were doing it, wasn't paranormal related, but we were in Atlanta and we did some research on Mitchell, who's been reported in the cemetery and stuff like that. So we went to the Coca-Cola thing, headquarters down there. Ties back to the fair. I just showed you the
they were
fountain.
there. Yeah,
they just got their patent for Coca-Cola like 4 years before the fair. You know, so everything it's like a turning point in American history from the Gilded Victorian Age, you know, the Industrial Age. It was like that pivot point. It was the Civil War just ended. You know, not that long before there, and we want to change the nation and make things better and put things back together. Very important stuff. Yeah. So if you're into the paranormal and you're paranormal researchers and you never heard of this, you definitely need to look into it, because there's things that branch off like crazy from this.
Yeah. And there were people that died.
Well, I was leading to that, but you didn't pick up on it. That's okay. We'll talk about that next. Do we have any questions so far? If we do in chat, go ahead and ask them.
So Richard wants a pickle pin, but they also wants to know, and is it paranormal? So is the pickle pin paranormal?
Pickle pin.
I don't know about that. Maybe, maybe not.
I guess it depends on
who
it was on when they died. Paranormal pickle pin. That's fun to say. A Parapew paranormal pickle pin.
Okay.
She's rolling her eyes. Did we cover everything that you researched today?
Well,
No.
we had a lot of stuff that we knew.
Oh, I want to tell you guys something too. We have an announcement to make. Before we started doing PANICdVideos, we actually had a podcast. Well, before that, we did another show with Dark Shadow Ghost.
We had a lot of things.
Then we kind of like stopped, and then we started a podcast called Untold History Revealed. That we kind of put on hold to get PANICdVideos going. And now that we're in the swing of things with PANICdVideos, got it kind of worked out, little schedule and everything that we're going to do on. We're going to bring back Untold History Revealed podcast. And that goes into more of the forensics and the in depth, more research. It's like an hour-long podcast. Her and I just sitting there talking about different things too. So, you know, we'll have links to that and everything when we get that fired back up again.
Yeah.
That comes out on Thursdays at 9:00.
Yeah. Art Geek wants to know if anybody has done any numerology connections with the
have you?
World Fair, and I haven't.
I haven't really got into numerology.
And I haven't seen anybody like post anything. Just like when I've done research for it.
We'll look into that.
Yeah,
Numerology and that kind of thing. Next week's show. Nobody, they don't care. Next week's show. If you think that you are a little bit sensitive, a little bit ESP, we're going to test your ESP next week. What do you think? What do you guys think about that?
Okay, we'll do Dr. Bankman.
That's right. I'm gonna. Yeah. What do you think? You want us to do some?
When they punch something on their keyboard, is it going to zap them?
ESP test next week. We actually have Zender cards, and we could put something together and test your ESP skills. Or, is that a yes?
I think it's a yes.
All right, so we'll do that next week, and we'll talk about other paranormal stuff and things like that. Okay, so we got about 15 more minutes left. Mm-hmm. I was getting to something. Any more questions? Any questions about the fair?
Let's see. Oh, Art Geek says they're only good at that kind of thing in person, though.
But I'm only good at that kind of thing. We're going to try to figure out a way to do it over YouTube Live.
Yeah. Let's see if you can do it.
Ley lines.
The mayor of Chicago. Yeah.
There we go.
There we go, Richard. How did you guess?
There we go. All right. Yeah, you brought it up. There's actually 2 events that took place at the World's Fair. And I am actually going to step away a minute and let Marianne talk about, you want to talk about the fire and then bring the mayor up and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Do you need more in your beverage?
No, I'm good with my water. My water's still full.
All right. So go ahead and talk about those 2 things, 2 tragic events.
Okay.
And I will be right back.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
All right.
And hopefully I don't trip over the camera.
Yeah, please don't. We don't need to lose it. Good job. All right. So anyways, there was a fire again in Chicago. We know that there was such a huge fire. It demolished most of Chicago in 1971. But during the Chicago's World Fair, there was a fire in one of the buildings as well. So on July 10th, there was a fire in the cold storage building. They think it started in one of the cupolas up top, but there were actually 15 people who died that day in the fire. The Chicago's World Fair committee or whatever that was putting it on, they had hired some individuals to be firefighters for the World's Fair, and 8 of them died in that fire. 4 of the actual Chicago firefighters died and 3 civilians. So there was quite a big disturbance that day. That building was pretty well ruined on July 10th. So then, just 2 days before the end of the fair is what Richard was talking about, the mayor. And in fact, the mayor of Chicago was killed 2 days before the fair ended. So his name was Carter Harrison, and he was killed by Patrick Eugene Pendergast. And they decided not to have the closing ceremonies for the World's Fair because of that. So was pretty important. They decided to have a memorial service instead. So instead of the closing ceremonies, they had a memorial for the mayor. So those were the big deaths. And then, of course, you know, you have H.H. Holmes. So I'm sure there was a few more deaths that, you know, we just don't know all the specific names for the people about, you know. So something else that I found kind of interesting when I was doing research.
Did you tell them about the brownies? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. What was the other thing that you found in your interesting research?
They didn't let Buffalo Bill Cody have a booth.
Did he tick somebody off?
I don't know.
Didn't have enough money?
I don't know. So what did he do? He just like set up outside the property.
Outside the property? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's all right.
He's like,
do
I'll
your
show
own
you.
thing across the street.
Yeah. So outside of the confines of the Chicago World's Fair, Buffalo Bill Cody, you know, just kind of put a little spot there.
Did they find out why the mayor was killed? And brownies. Well, I can answer the brownies ones. Brownies actually debuted at the World's Fair. There was a special.
Mrs. Palmer.
There you go, Mrs. Palmer's brownies.
She was.
I think it's a fudge brownie with icing and nuts on top of it.
Yeah, she. And I actually found the recipe for the original.
Yeah, we found the recipe. I'll put it in a link in the description when the show's over because they look yummy.
We'll all make them. Maybe we can all make them and we can eat them together next week. But anyhow, she had those made because she wanted something that the women could have that, you know, they could eat without getting a big mess while they're kind of going out.
Delicate little brownie.
Yeah, so she told her husband's pastry chef at his hotel, she's like, you better figure something out.
All right, so let's try to catch up on these comments.
The original brownies.
This might take a while to get caught up. Maybe not. I think we're caught up.
I think you're pretty good.
Okay, I can't see it, so you're going to have to go through.
Cake. Talk about cursed brownies. Oh my.
Why was the mayor shot? I know was one of those questions. I don't know what the motive was. I don't know the motive behind it, but the name is out there, and I'm sorry I forgot who the name was, but
Pendergast?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what the motive was. It could have been one of those just a woo,
you never
because
know.
he was a very well loved mayor of Chicago.
Yeah, and that's why they decided not to have the closing ceremonies, just to have a memorial instead.
Paranormal activity must be very high. Absolutely. You know, and you have some other things that is going to play into it too. It's right on the edge of the lake.
The lake, yeah.
Lake Michigan. You know, so you got that big body of water. 27 million people, different souls and things and energy and all that stuff passing through there. It's no wonder why Chicago is not a hotbed.
All that electricity that came and started all of a sudden.
Electricity for the first time.
Yeah.
AC and DC in the same place. Oh, geez. I could just imagine.
It's crazy.
In the Victorian age, with the spiritualism and all that other stuff going on, you know, in those hotels and stuff like that, they were probably doing seances and all kinds of.
Yeah, so I heard.
That's why I hope we get that time machine built and we could take them tickets, go back, because it would be awesome.
Yeah,
I want to go back with some K2
tickets.
meters, Mel meter, and night vision, and find all kinds of stuff. All right, so
teleprompter says, "Talk about thinking outside the box." I just want to point out that the brownies came in a box. So it was for box lunches.
Where are we at?
Let's see. Art Geek.
Compact cake. Yeah, I got my K2 meter. Awesome. Finger food. I love hearing about H.H. Holmes.
Late lines.
H.H. Holmes, very interesting subject. And we kind of really delved into him probably this past year, I would assume. And the sad part is now the story's changing.
Yeah.
You know, some say it was much worse than they thought, and others are saying it's not as bad as what they're saying. Yeah. So if you're into H.H. Holmes, follow up on that and keep following on.
Because it's changing.
Yeah, and Jeff Mudgett, you know, we keep saying Jeff Mudgett and praising his name, but the research that he is doing it for a great cause. He's trying to get resolution for the families and the victims, and I will follow his
his lead.
He's not looking for any type of profit from it.
Yeah, he
if
says
that
that
makes
if they
sense. Okay?
he says that if
So-
they find anything in the basement, if they ever get to dig it out, if they find anything, he's donating.
They're going to donate it to a museum.
to
so.
Chicago and
Talking about thinking, okay, Buffalo Bill. Okay, anyone check if there are ley lines under the location or Native American graveyard? Did we check on that? No, we didn't, but I would be surprised if it wasn't. Again, it was right next to the lake. Flat land. There was probably, I'm just going to say yes, there was probably, or there was Native Americans.
And didn't we read somewhere recently that they, isn't it at where Obama is building, didn't they find some remains or something and they've stonewalled and now they have to wait?
They put it on hold.
Was it at his location or somewhere else in Chicago?
I don't recall that. That might have been something that you said to me and I wasn't paying attention.
So could there have been some Native American graveyards there? I'm sure. I mean, it's not like they would mark them with things that would be noticeable 100 years afterwards or anything like that. So would the newbies that came into the land, would they just build on top of it not knowing? Yeah, a lot of times that happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
lots of important things have come from World's Fair. Yeah, I mean, I remember going to World's Fair. You know, I'm old, but not that old, and I don't hear about them much more. But yeah, a lot of cool things have debuted and came out of World's Fairs. They're actually kind of cool. I went to one in, I think it was Kentucky. I don't remember what year. I was in high school, so it would have been the late 80s. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's not something really for, I guess kids, because there's not like a lot of rides and stuff like that. But, like our fairs around here anymore is just like food. You got food and you got the farm animals,
and a couple of rides that you're looking at going, is
that's not
safe?
A World's Fair, but that's like a county fair type thing.
Yeah.
But I like that part where you have those different things, different gadgets and different things that's going on. You can go
but our carnivals of today, they say, were based on the midway of the Chicago World's Fair.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a major turning point. That'd be so cool. Pretty neat subject. Pretty interesting, especially when you tie all the pieces and parts together.
Yeah, and all the people who were there is just amazing, and all the things that came out of it. I would love to go to the Chicago World's Fair.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So do you guys want to see how to enter to win that ticket again? Or do you guys got it? I could put the screen back up.
Just stick the picture back up.
I'll just stick it back up because we're going to be wrapping up here shortly. So we can head over to Halos and Heathens.
Yes.
So let's everyone leave here when we're done and go over to Halos and Heathens at 6. And then at 8
o'clock,
let's all meet up again on
Puska
Studios again. That would be awesome. Just everybody just converge on everybody else. All right, so
you were going to show them the
I'm going to show them
giveaway.
How they get entered to win the giveaway again.
Yes.
It's right here. There you go. So subscribe to our channel and go ahead and give us a like. Give us a thumbs up on this and send us proof to PANICdVideos@gmail.com and in the subject put number 006. And next week when we go live,
we'll draw for that return ticket. So that when we get that, time machine running, we can go and all return together.
All go back to the World's Fair. Dressed in like
we could
steampunk
or
paranormal investigation outfits.
Or we could go dressed in our clothes of today and go and stand at the electrically cut clothing stand and say, look, see, people these were created by...
Be going, what?
All right, well...
Alrighty, folks. So coming up this week on PANICdVideos, we will be covering and talking about the Congress Plaza Hotel right there in Chicago, not too far from that World's Fair. It was actually built in 1893. The main purpose of it was
housing.
For housing for the World's Fair. But there are a ton of paranormal claims at that hotel. That's the hotel we stayed at when we went to Chicago.
It is.
There are claims anywhere from seeing Al Capone in the bar to people committing suicides and all kinds of stuff. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about, and ghost stories and folklore will come out on Tuesday. Wednesday we got some little behind the scenes videos of some investigation that we did through the place, and we got some videos. We'll put out some EVP sessions that we did, and Friday we'll wrap it up with our location video. Next Saturday we're just going to come on, we're going to chat, we're going to do some ESP testing for you guys, and maybe think of something else to do. I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
Maybe just wing it. Have some fun.
Yeah.
Talk ghost stories. Talk paranormal.
There you go.
Whatever you guys want to do.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan? All right.
All right. Well,
hope you guys enjoyed us. Thanks for stopping in.
We appreciate your coming and
That's
hanging with
Love
us
our
today.
Para peeps. Thank you very much. So, till next time.
Thanks for watching.
And happy hunting.
If you'd like to see more videos from PANICdVideos in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash that bell for notifications. Also, help support the channel by sharing this video with your friends and family and anyone else who might be interested in the paranormal. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting.